Taking a page from Meghan Markle's cookbook, female reporter puts the royals' zucchini bolognese recipe to the test, as she makes the filthy, sexy, mush for the prince in her life. It's no secret that Meghan Markle likes to cook dinner and enjoy cozy nights in with Prince Harry. In fact, they were roasting a chicken together when he popped the question. But it's actually her recently resurfaced recipe for zucchini bolognese that has been making headlines as of late, and her vegetarian version of the beloved meat sauce couldn't be simpler to make. Meghan's brilliant hack involves slow cooking zucchini for 4 hours, until it breaks down into what she calls filthy, sexy, mush. Although my boyfriend, Chris, isn't a royal per se, I couldn't resist having him test out a pasta dish that was most likely enjoyed by a prince. It didn't hurt that the Duchess of Sussex pretty much gushed about the sauce while sharing the recipe with Delish before she became a royal. The sauce gets so creamy, you'd swear there's tons of butter and oil in it, but it's just zucchini, water and a little bouillon, Meghan said of the seemingly decadent concoction. Because Meghan's instructions were a bit vague, I ended up following an abridged version of Delish's take on the recipe. The prep for the dish was relatively easy. I finally diced 1 onion and chopped 5 medium zucchini before I was ready to get started. I then heated 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a large pot and sautéed the onion for 6 minutes until fragrant. Obviously, I picture Meghan making this dish in a cashmere sweater in an English cottage with a roaring fire in the background. But my boyfriend didn't get the same visual in reality. My messy bun and casual t-shirt and shorts were far from royal attire, so it was safe to say that I didn't exactly have that Markle sparkle while cooking in my kitchen, but I figured Chris should just be happy that I was feeding him. The recipe calls for 1 bouillon cube, but Whole Foods didn't have any, so I settled for a better-than-bouillon beef base. After the onions were translucent, I added the zucchini into the pot and stirred in a teaspoon of beef base into half a cup of water. I topped off the mixture with salt and pepper to taste and turned the heat down to low. And then that was it. For the next 4 hours, all I had to do was keep it covered and stir it occasionally. The only issue I had with the recipe at that point was that it kept me chained to my apartment for most of the day. Chris's eyes glazed over a bit when I told him I couldn't go to the beach because I had to slow cook zucchini for dinner. I would also be lying if I didn't admit that I was pretty worried about how it was going to turn out. Every time I opened the lid, it looked more soupy than mushy. After voicing my concerns, Chris and I agreed we would get tacos if it was bad, but luckily that wasn't the case. The sauce was still a little liquidy after the 4 hours were up, so I cranked up the heat and let it boil down a bit, which was an easy fix. I then added 3/4 of a box of cooked rigatoni and about a cup of Parmesan cheese, mixing it together until the pasta was coated with sauce. At this point, my boyfriend and I were starving, and he wasn't exactly thrilled with the mini photo shoot I made him take part in before feeding him. Chris was already digging in when I remembered that I forgot to add more salt and pepper, but he refused to let me take it off him. "It's good," he said. My Prince Charming didn't seem to be that enthusiastic about the dish at first, but after he grabbed a second helping, he added, "That Meghan Markle is really onto something." I was also impressed with the sauce, which was flavorful mush, just like she promised. However, like most pasta dishes, I think it was really the Parmesan cheese that made it great. The next day, I texted Chris while I was at work and asked him to share his thoughts on the sauce. Just like the royal wedding, this pasta came with a big build-up and did not disappoint, he wrote back. If his over-the-top response is any indication, he will probably want me to make it for him again. Now, whether he plans on proposing to me with a 3-carat cushion-cut diamond from Botswana, only time will tell.